Hey, it's Kristen, and we are back with some brand new episodes of Charmed. There's been a little bit of a hiatus recently, but episodes just came back and at a new time, Fridays. So I think, honestly, that's going to be a little bit maybe helpful to me because now I'll be able to do live streams on Saturdays instead of Mondays talking about the new episode. So today we're talking about Charmed Season 3, Episode 11. And in this episode, there's so much going on. I mean, we have the Charmed ones finally coming face to face with that allergy and trying to get rid of it. We have Josefina working on getting her powers. And just there's a lot going on. So let's start from the very beginning. This episode starts out with the girls in kind of like an Indiana Jones style situation. They're looking for this relic that's supposed to help get rid of their curse, their allergy. It's this giant egg in some kind of cave. And I have to say, I thought the Indiana Jones references were kind of fun, and like kind of those movie references that Maggie was making were fun. But also, I just feel like there's been so many flashback episodes lately that don't really seem necessary. Like, I think this might be the third episode already where they're kind of just flashing back to past scenes that they could have just inserted normally. So in this moment, they're kind of flashing back to a past scene with the Perfecti explaining, how they have to go get this egg and how, they don't know what the side effects of this allergy, getting rid of it will be. And, I just think it feels a little bit like a lazy move to me to make so many flashback episodes that it's not like they're flashing really far back to, moments with Marisol or to the past or things like that. They're flashing back like, maybe a day before to have the Perfecti telling them what to do. So I just think that's a little bit lazy at times. But yeah, so we'll continue on. So this episode, they get the egg, they heat it up, and it, kind of explodes, and they are free of their allergy, which seems perfect. They can finally touch each other. The sisters can hug. Macy and Harry are making up for lost time. And, now after that, I just kind of thought that maybe we'd have like a little bit more of like a sisterly moment. Maybe the sisters just having like a real, like, I don't know, some one-on-one time together, but instead they went off to kind of do their own separate things. We get to see Maggie goes to her internship, like presentation, and she gets the internship and she's really excited. Macy and Harry go to Paris and have a romantic like day, and Mel has been trying to become like a tenured full-time professor, so she is ready to go speak to the new dean, and the new dean's like, we don't even need to have a meeting. I know you're perfect for this. Like, you're moving forward. Let's do this. And everything seems like it's going perfectly. But of course, Maggie, as she sort of, she doesn't even really predict it, but she sort of is like the one teasing a little bit of what's going on in this episode through all her movie references. But, things are not going to be perfect, so she's kind of like, I don't know, this feels like everything's going great, and then the other shoe's going to drop. And of course, that's what happened. So it turns out that the all these great things that are happening to the Charmed ones kind of are, I would say, like magnetizing the opposite way with the people around them. So, Maggie gets her internship, but Antonio, who's been her nemesis, that she's going up against for this internship, gets into a car accident and in this like really serious condition. Or, Macy and Harry are going on this Paris trip. They have this honeymoon suite. This couple that, they give the honeymoon suite to this older couple. The guy has a heart attack. Or Mel's coworkers, her fellow professors, are mad because they're kind of the next ones in line to get their, tenure, and she kind of overstepped them with this newfound kind of like, these wishes that they want to happen. They're kind of like overstepping the people around them and hurting the people around them. And honestly, I was a little bit disappointed to see that the Charmed ones had to, get rid of the egg and get rid of the, the solution and get their allergy back. But I do feel like it was definitely a kind of like a metaphor for the pandemic and for COVID. It seems like, oh, maybe, we can go out into the world and be safe, and we can be around each other now, but you're seeing the effects of the charmed ones doing that, and it's hurting the people around them. So I felt like that was definitely like a metaphor for the pandemic, and now, you know, they have to social distance again, stay away from each other. And, you know, I guess it's for the best, for the greater good. The charmed ones are trying to help people. They don't want to hurt people, but it was a little bit anticlimactic to see them, you know, finally be free and then kind of have to go back. But I understand what they're trying to do, give us that metaphor for COVID. So, we got some people that have joined us. Devil Shaggy, I will get to your comment shortly. We're going to talk about Josefina. And then, hello, Asher. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining me. So, speaking of, let's just get into Josefina now. So, with her green glowing eyes and the plant control powers, Josefina seemed like an earth fairy from Fate the Winx saga. Yeah, so basically, you know, Josefina's whole storyline, really, her whole arc has been trying to manifest her witch abilities. And in this episode, it finally happens. I gotta say, though, I thought with the glowing green eyes, I was a little bit nervous that, like, maybe this was a sign of, like, evil. I don't know. Maybe that's just how they're like manifesting her abilities. But I was kind of like, oh, suspicious. But you know, I love how, you know, it seems like, you know, she's been working hard to try to manifest these abilities and trying to figure out what is that potion that's going to help her bring out her inner power. And you know, at first they were concerned, the charmed ones were concerned that maybe the egg kind of was the one that brought about that power, but it turns out it was not the egg. So when they put it back, Josefina still has her abilities, and what's really cool is that she has this ability to control nature. And there was this article that the actress who plays Josefina did an interview with TV Line, and I'm going to read you guys the quote that she said about getting the powers and finding out what her powers are going to be, because I thought it was really cool. She says, "I was surprised, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever that they'd give her these nature powers. When it comes to trans people, the argument has been that we're going against nature, the nature of who we are. But for Josefina, that couldn't be further from the truth. Being who we are is so much closer to nature than being the gender we were assigned at birth. We're so much closer to ourselves, so it's a cool little parallel." So I thought that was really nice, and it was really cool to see her powers in action. I also loved that they, you know, kind of did a little ritual. It kind of felt like a little bit of a throwback to the first season when Maggie and her sisters kind of did that sorority. That, you know, they did their own little like Vera Vaughn sorority little moment. It kind of felt like that, where it was just like a really cute like bonding moment, and we got to see Josefina's powers in action, blooming flowers, and it was just really beautiful. And you could see that her powers were really useful in this episode as well in many ways. But it looks like she's leaving, right? Like she gives them the newly updated Book of Shadows, and she says that, you know, she actually does want to go back to school and learn more, and she's going to go back to Puerto Rico and go to college there. So it kind of seems like Josefina's leaving us now. So I'm a little bit sad that her arc was literally just to get her powers. I was hoping that maybe she'd stick around a little bit longer. Maybe she'll come back and help in other ways. I also really liked that at the end of this episode, Maggie kind of mentioned that, like, you know, she wants to, you know, learn more about the family history. And so I'm hoping that, like, maybe they'll finally start doing a little bit more of that, and maybe Josefina will come back occasionally and, you know, maybe be a recurring guest star, even though she might be not staying at the Vera Vaughn house anymore. So I hope she's not like really leaving for real, but I guess we'll see what happens. And then let's get into a little bit of what Harry's been going through. I think that, you know, we've kind of been teasing this entire season that Harry is worried about his relationship with Macy and the fact that he'll always be, you know, the same age because he's immortal, and that she'll get older. And especially seeing the little old couple that they really admire in Paris, you know, and how they got to grow old together. And it just seems like that's something that Harry is very concerned about. And so Harry at the end of this episode is kind of like, Macy, what if I became mortal? And I feel like that's kind of like the trajectory that it seemed like we were going on. So that makes sense to me. And honestly, I kind of hope that they do it. I think it would be interesting to see how, like, would he still be able to keep his whitelighter powers? Would he just, you know, age? or would he just be like a regular human? And I guess we'll see what happens. But it looks like the next episode, based off the promo, they're gonna kind of dive into that. And maybe he's gonna turn to the Perfecti to get help with that, because they originally made him mortal for or took away his powers, at least in the last episode, for a little bit, and it worked out great. Macy and him were able to be together, so I'm imagining he might do that again, and see if they'll get rid of his powers permanently or get rid of his immortality permanently, so that he and Macy can be together. And then Deke says, I wish we could. I knew we couldn't trust the Perfecti, but hopefully the sisters can find another way to get rid of the allergy. Yeah, so the Perfecti, it seems like they're sort of this group of people who are, this duo really, who are trying to make everything, put everything in order. And I don't think that they're going to be someone that we can end up really trusting. I feel like they're going to like maybe go too extreme. But I guess we'll see what happens. And, the fact that like the Perfecti are like, oh, we're not really sure what's going to happen with you, like getting rid of your allergy, what the side effects are. Oh, was this the only way? Like, you would just think that they would know a little bit more, since they're, I don't know, they seemed like this all-knowing duo. I also want to talk about Jordan and Abigail, which I felt was a little bit kind of thrown in there. Like Abigail, we know that she has been having these issues with her demon side, and this episode, it really seems to kind of hit a peak where like she's really hurting herself. She wants to get rid of her powers now, because she's like, maybe if I bind my powers, I'll be like safer. Like this is really bad. And so she turns to Jordan for help. And then they end up in the Tomb of Chaos. So I don't know if maybe the Perfecti thought that they were just like a very dangerous mix, because they're, who knows what Abigail's up to? She can't even control herself. So, I'm assuming that's maybe why they put them in the Tomb of Chaos. But now I'm sure that's going to be something that the Charmed Ones are going to have to deal with maybe in the next episode, is trying to get them out of the Tomb of Chaos. Kevin says, poor Jordan and Abby, they both got screwed. Yeah, they were just trying to like help Abigail. Jordan was just trying to help Abigail. They were gonna get rid of her powers. Maybe she would finally be like chill. And now they're stuck in the Tomb of Chaos. But another thing that I really am excited about, based off of the promo, is as Devil Shaggy says, there will be an episode, the next episode, the girls find a letter that was written by Marisol, which contains, answers to their burning questions. So basically, in the promo, there's a letter that's from Marisol that they find in the attic that says, to all my girls, for when it's too painful to be near each other. And we know Marisol's power was seeing the future. So clearly she saw this coming, and maybe she has a solution alternate to, that egg that can help them get rid of their allergy. I hope so. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like about like coming together, and what would they say? Like your differences are your strengths, and you're better together. Like, I'm sure maybe it's something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm really excited about that, and the fact that they're bringing back references to Marisol. And it just makes me hopeful that maybe we will finally get to dive a little bit more into family history, and the fact that, like, Marisol kind of saw this coming. Maybe she has seen other things and has solutions to what the Charmed Ones can do to basically, like, fix this allergy, be able to, like, be around each other, and, get back to doing what they do best, which is, stopping magical evil in the world. I don't know. Kevin, I'm also really looking forward to seeing what Marisol says. Let me know if you guys have theories on like what she could possibly have written about, other than just like, you're stronger together. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think if there was any other thoughts I had about this episode. Overall, I was kind of mixed on this one. I thought that there were some interesting moments. I thought it was a little I guess like cheesy at times if I felt like literally all they had to do was put back the egg and then they got the allergy back. Like I was like, okay. Where there were some moments that I felt were a little bit lazy, like the flashbacks when like they could have literally just showed the scene with the Perfecti telling the charmed ones and then moved forward. Why do we need all these flashbacks to like very small moments? That didn't really make sense to me. Also one thing that like I still don't understand is like Jordan is not cursed anymore, so he's fine. Maggie can touch him now. Like, we've seen, like, Macy can touch him. So, does Maggie not know that yet? I felt like this whole episode, it seemed like Maggie didn't know that she and Jordan can be around each other now. So, I think they need to, I don't know, catch Maggie up or something, because I was like, that feels like a plot hole. Like, we already know that Jordan's not cursed anymore. He's fine. So, Maggie should be able to be around him and they can be together. Anything else that I wanted to bring up? Yeah. Devilish Aggie says, I think the Perfecti are extreme perfectionists and everything that seems flawed and dangerous gets into the Tomb of Chaos. I think you're right. And I think they're going to end up, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up putting like most of the world in the Tomb of Chaos and then it becomes like a huge thing that the Charmed Ones need to stop the Perfecti or something like that. I think, I definitely think something like that's going to happen. Like the Perfecti maybe have good intentions, but, I think they're just going to be too extreme and they're like not going to understand how the world works and they're going to just like take things too far. That's what I think. Kevin says Maggie likes him but also friend zoned him again. Yes, I feel like it's not a real friend zone though. Like I feel like she says it because she's like afraid to lose her year of me. But also I feel like she just like, does she know that she can even be around him? Because they haven't even been in the same room. It looks like I kind of got the impression in this episode that she thought that he was still cursed. Anthony, great question. Do you think the sisters will go to Puerto Rico to meet their long-lost relatives? That would be so cool. I would love to see that. I would love to see, them go maybe with Josefina to Puerto Rico and like learn more about their family and their history and maybe even patch up because it seems like there was like drama, right, between the families. And they made peace with Josefina and everything, but like maybe the other, rest of the family members don't necessarily know that. So I think it would be cool to like see them come over, make peace, maybe give them another copy of the Book of Shadows, learn about their family history, learn more about like, magic from their family. I think that would be really cool. Oh, going back to the Perfecti, Kevin says, I mean, there has to be a reason the Perfecti were sealed away in the tomb in the first place. Well, I know that they said in one of the episodes that like they kind of did what they had to do and then they sealed themselves up because they were like, we're done. We did our job. It's time to rest. And that they would only be released if something went wrong. So, maybe that's why. Or yeah, like I feel like that's what it is. But I think that they're going to end up just taking things too far, Deke says, I kind of want a longer scene of Maggie in therapy where she can hopefully get some real help with her anxiety. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I did think it was a little bit like weird how they just like, I mean, Maggie's literally in the middle of a therapy appointment and Macy just showed up in the room, froze the doctor. It just didn't really make sense to me. I felt like that didn't logistically make sense. And then the fact that like they just left a note on the doctor's like lap. I'm sure if I was that doctor, I'd be like, what the heck just happened? Because she just like disappeared. Like what, she blinked and the girl just disappeared? That doesn't make any sense. Anthony says, do you think that they will end up locking up every demon on the planet? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, the demons haven't really like been a big part of this season, like honestly, like even as before when I was saying like, getting back to what the Charmed Ones do best, what do they do best? I don't really know. Like there's no demons that they're going up against. There was these monsters, I guess, but that was kind of part of the Tomb of Chaos, and now the Perfecti are handling that. So, what have the Charmed Ones really been doing? They don't save innocents. You know, I think that's like something that's a bit missing from this show, is like a little bit more of the Charmed One's purpose. It kind of seems like right now their goal is really just to get rid of the allergy. Like they don't really have anything else going on. So I think that, you know, we've seen a couple of like smaller big bads, but like what's the overarching, I mean, I'm assuming the perfecti are going to be the things that they're going to be going up against next, kind of realizing that they're going too far, but otherwise the Charmed Ones kind of aren't really doing much right now, when you really think about it. Anthony says, do you think the acting has improved since season 1? You know, honestly, I'm not sure. Sometimes I feel like I'm not sure if it's the acting or the writing that I'm like, sometimes the scenes don't like fully work for me, and I'll like, you know, kind of have to, you know, as I think about the episodes, I'm like kind of like on a roller coaster of like, okay, this was good, I didn't really like that. This was good, I don't really like that. So I kind of still think season 1 was my favorite season. So I think I felt like season 1 to me felt more rooted in like in reality, even though there's all this magical stuff going on. And I feel like as the seasons have gone on, I kind of feel like I don't know, I kind of feel like I don't really believe the performances, and as Taylor said, maybe it's more the writing. But I think for me the strongest season was season 1, and since then it's kind of been like a little bit all over the place, a lot of ups and downs. So yeah, but yeah, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts or comments. But to wrap things up, I would say this is an episode that was kind of like up and down for me. It was not one of my favorites. I think that there was some really fun moments. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of a sisterly bonding moment, you know, just because they can finally be around each other. And, you know, for a little bit, there was like that moment where they could actually hug and touch and stuff. But, you know, overall, you know, it was just okay for me, you know. There were a couple of moments that felt, I don't know, that just kind of like took me out of the episode a little bit, that I was kind of like, I don't know if that really makes sense, or like, okay. Or the fact that like, I just like sometimes they're trying to put so much in an episode. Like, I think this episode really could have maybe just been about the Charmed Ones getting their allergy gone and then having to get it back, and then maybe finding that letter that we're going to see in the next episode, and maybe ending on that with Marisol. And it's like, that would have been like a really cool episode. But, you know, the part with Josefina was really cool. But then I feel like the section with like Jordan and Abigail kind of feels like they're forcing Abigail into the story in a way that like, I don't really care about Abigail that much. At least that's my opinion. So I think that maybe it's just the beginning of setting up that the perfecti are going too far. But I don't know. I think that maybe they could have weaved it in a little bit more seamlessly. Oh, Deke says what should have felt like a major episode felt more like filler. Yeah, I think also because like they got rid of the allergy, but then they got it back again. So it was like kind of like they did all this stuff and ended up back where they were again, and nothing was different. You know what I mean? Again, I think that was a metaphor for COVID. You know, the fact that like, oh, it seems like we can go out into the world but look, we're affecting people, we're hurting people. No, we should go back to quarantining. That's what it kind of felt like. But you know, I was hoping that we'd be back into action with the Charmed Ones. But then, you know, then it's like, what's next? So I think this is definitely setting up perfecti. You know, the perfecti versus the Charmed Ones. That's what I think that we're setting up right now. Yeah, VB, does Maggie know that Jordan's curse is gone? She can touch him now even with the allergy? I don't know. To me, it seemed like she didn't know. That's how this episode felt to me. But she can. So I hope that they like have a moment in the next episode or something. But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited for the next episode though. Like I said, I think that they're setting up some interesting things that I'm excited to see, mainly the letter of Marisol. You know, I really want to see that moment, you know, I mean, she literally wrote a letter to all my girls for when it's too painful to be near each other. So she definitely saw this coming. And I would love to see, like, what did she say? Can she help them? Is there another solution that won't have these side effects to getting rid of their allergy? I'm crossing my fingers because I really want to know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time today and for joining me. Hopefully I'll be able to do episodes on Saturdays now, talking about episodes in the live streams, since the episodes are now airing on Fridays. I think that'll be a little bit easier than trying to do Monday evenings. So I hope you'll join me next week. And of course, make sure to check out all my other videos on my channel. I recently just did a review of Selena, the series part 2. If you haven't checked that out yet, please do. And I have tons more reviews and interviews coming, so I hope you guys will check them out. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will talk to you later. Bye.